Are you concerned by that rewriting of history and how we can address that?
Well, everyone's always you rewrite history brilliantly. I love reading all your books, and I'm very excited when you do rewrite history. Everyone's always rewriting all the time, really. Bad actors and good actors, and academics and filmmakers, of course, Hollywood directors. And so there's a constant. We all tell each other stories about our past. That's what my grandmother was doing when I was a kid. She was rewriting history. She was telling me how great her grandpa was, and then I read the history books and realised that he was a bit of a dodgy old, character. So everyone has the right, I think, to interpret history and rewrite it, but they don't have the right to have their interpretation of history scrutinised and challenged. And so that's what historians do. Historians are constantly trying to piece together a picture of what happened in the past, using new sources they become available. Obviously, digitization of sources has been so powerful, but we've also got new science adjacent or scientific methods now, archaeology, looking at teeth, bones, human DNA, whatever it might be. Incredibly exciting new ways to retell stories of the past. We are retelling huge stories from our past, like was the Germanic, Saxon, Jutish settlement of the Isles. Was that an incredibly violent genocidal event, or was it just one elite replacing another? And that's the history there is so fascinating. It goes from one to the other. I love following that debate. And the same's true of the Vikings. So who are these Vikings? Are they coming into Northumbria? Are they coming into East Anglia and just murdering everybody and replacing them with blonde-haired Danes and Norwegians? Or are they just adapting, perhaps like the Normans a few centuries later, they're just bringing over their sort of elites and they're taking charge of existing social structures? Now, those are things that don't feel hugely controversial, that when you move into areas around British imperial heroes, when you talk about Winston Churchill, it touches a raw nerve, because these are people that we associate that are somehow central to a story of Britain that we tell ourselves in this country. There was a school the other day that changed their house names in Yorkshire from Nelson and Raleigh and Drake to contemporary figures, that admired contemporary figures. And what do we think about that? Well, I think we know as historians that every generation will choose what parts of history to emphasise and what heroes to pluck out of the past, and I think that's kind of inevitable. And I guess it's just for those of us that want certain stories told in history, we need to make sure we get out and doing it like you are, and writing great books and engaging the public, and perhaps taking on those counter narratives as they emerge.